Hi everyone, it's Sam, NFTstatistics, and this is your Proof Daily NFT Countdown. I got my hoodie, CryptoPunk hoodie on. I got my in-laws coming to town. I hope you're having a good day too. Let's get right into it. Gonna talk about Elon, gonna talk about Yuga, doing some weird things with the contract. Gonna talk about a couple art sales that were pretty nice. Let's get right into it, starting with a market overview. Volumes were down a small bit. Most of the volume was with Blur, but a little bit less than normal, only 69%. I think the reason for this is Nakamigos. Most of the volume there is actually on OpenSea. Nakamigos enforces a 5% royalty, which makes it less likely that people want to airdrop farm. As a result, you haven't seen Blur have quite as much market share. Unique buyers were up a fair bit, kind of at the higher end of the range that we've been at over the past couple weeks for unique buyers. In terms of price movement, large cap index down a small bit. Bored Apes were up. Pudgy was down. Moonbirds was down. Mid cap index pretty flat, up a small bit as well, or up a small bit. On-Chain Monkey up 22%, Rumble Kong up 20%, and a bit of weakness in Nakamigos. I added them to the mid-cap index. You get a 0.70 floor. You're going on the mid-cap index sometimes. This time, Nakamigos felt like it belonged there, but down 19%. That's because they had a huge rally yesterday. It was a big day for flippers, though. Flippers were up about 1,000 ETH. And when I talk about flippers, I mean all the trades that were closed, where people sold out their positions that they had held for less than 14 days. Those positions were up about 1,000 ETH yesterday. One of the biggest days ever. Not ever. One of the biggest days over the past 3 months. Now, why were they up so much? And the main reason was Nakamigos. Nakamigos, about 1,200 ETH of profit just for people who sold Nakamigo position. Kind of counterintuitive, because I just said that the Nakamigos floor was down, but I think we had a really volatile day yesterday. Floor went up to about 0.8 ETH. People took a bunch of profits. The other thing is, when I'm talking about these trades which people have closed, kind of an interesting thing I just discovered from digging through the data is that people tend to sell NFTs when they're up, but when they're down, they don't sell. When they're down, they just keep that hopium going, hoping that the NFT will go up later eventually. Check out this chart here. What it shows is that people, when I looked at all the trades that were closed yesterday, the ones that were down had been held for a median of 18 days, whereas the ones that were up had been held for a median of just 2 days. So people when they're up, that's when they want to take profits, get out of it. People when they're down, more likely to hold a little bit longer. So that explains a little bit of why we had so many profits, even though Nakamigos is down. You get a lot of people who sold when they were up or who sold positions they had bought earlier. Tends to be the way that people roll. In terms of art projects, 5 projects did more than 10 ETH of volume. Cargo, last week's art blocks curated, led with 22 ETH of volume. Floor did fall a little bit, down about 0.2 ETH. Also, some big trades in ringers, meridians, chromie squiggles. Let's get right into it. I'll show you what those were actually. The meridian, I said it's a big trade. It was actually kind of a down trade, a 21 ETH trade on this ringer here. Now, to be clear, the ringer floor is in the mid 30s. So a 21 ETH sale, that's really, really low. This shows you a theme that I've been talking about a fair bit recently, which is that on art blocks, there just is not that much liquidity relative to where the floor is. So people who want to get out of positions are really reaching below floor in order to get that liquidity. So just 21 ETH there. Sort of a different trade here on this Meridian, sold for 10.75 ETH. But the floor on Meridian is just 8.5. So this was someone who picked an NFT they liked, put a bid, and the seller hit that bid. We have a chromie squiggle here for 11.2 ETH, slightly above floor. That's a rib squiggle, slightly more rare, but not really one of the more grails in chromie squiggle. Not too uncommon to see ribs trade around the floor. And then you also have Anti-Cyclone, which sold for 9 ETH. Now this was above the floor, kind of a bit of a unique palette with this black and white color tones, but nice to see that trading above the floor. Next thing to talk about, Elon, handshake NFTs and crypto, but then the on-handshake NFTs. Kind of weird. Let's talk about it. Starting with the handshake, he dropped this meme card from 6529, meme card number 2, just dropped the Seize the Memes of Production right on his Twitter. Kind of went kind of crazy, went a little viral in our community. What happened? Well, people took hold of that. He made his daily piece all around the Seize the Memes of Production thing that Elon had tweeted. What happens next? Price of memes by 6529, the overall market cap jumped about 30%. We got this attention on this project. People loved it, started buying. Which cards were up the most? The card he tweeted, definitely up the most, up about 3x versus where it was a week ago, just to where it was this morning. Also saw all 4 of these cards, either their floor price has gone up over 2x since a week ago. So kind of the joy that came to card number 2 expanded to a bunch of other meme cards. Pretty much every single one was up a fair bit. Let's dig a little bit more into the actual card that he tweeted. He tweeted just the image, but the NFT from that image. And you can see that this had really never traded above 2 ETH. And yesterday we had trades at 3, 4, 5, 6, and we even had one sale at 8 ETH. Okay, so this thing really went crazy. Just a day ago, it was trading below 1 ETH, or 2 days ago, below 1 ETH. We had a sale as high as 8 ETH, but a ton of sales in that 2 to 5 ETH range. Currently, however, it has completely deflated, kind of back, not to where we started, but it's moving in that direction. Current price is only 1.4 ETH. What happened? Elon deleted the tweet. Why did he delete the tweet? Maybe he didn't realize that he was pushing a JPEG. Maybe he didn't realize that he was pushing an NFT that he may or may not have wanted to push, but he deleted the tweet. And ever since then, the price has really gone down. Here's a little hat tip to Signal, who had quoted the tweet, and you can see now that it is deleted by the author. So that's a bummer. Sometimes they pump your bags. Sometimes they dump your bags, even when it comes to tweeting. I guess that's the lesson. More of Elon. He also he converted the Twitter logo to Doge, and this was a more sustained pump. What you can see happened is that the price of Doge went up 30% because he didn't change it back. Okay, and this we're still up about 30% on the back of this. He then provided a little bit clarity of why he did this. It's actually from something he tweeted with WSB chairman a year ago on Twitter, where WSB chairman said, just buy Twitter and change the bird logo to a Doge. And Elon said, haha, that would be sick. So here he's making good on that word. That's really all that he appears to be doing, but interesting to see this. Yesterday was the day of Elon. A couple of my takeaways. One is that we are in an attention economy. Elon tweets something, it gets a ton of impressions. People buy those NFTs. He deletes that tweet, attention gone, and people sell that NFT. And I say here also, Elon is a troll. I don't think he's out there like really with huge intentions, of making anything really all that long lasting. Who knows? I think he just likes the kind of attention the crypto community gives him when he makes these changes. So probably not the best place to go too big with your investments, but still interesting to see that. Third thing to talk about, Koda Decoupling. We knew about this before, but we got a bit more announcements, a bit more updates on this today. I think this is all pretty important. Here's a tweet from Koda, basically just saying that the Koda and the vessel decoupling is going to be happening this week. A few of the details that happened with it. One, it's happening this week. Basically, you get your own Koda NFT, and then you also get your vessel NFT. But the other thing that was new, and this to me is super interesting, is that in order to get these, you have to burn your other deed, okay? And they're going to give you a new other deed, but you have to burn your old other deed. It's not required to burn, but in order to use your Koda NFT, your vessel NFT, a lot of these things that are coming in the future, which will be integral to the game and integral to the lore, you have to burn that other deed NFT. Now, I think there could be a lot of reasons that they ask you to burn that, and they're going to give you a new one. But one reason I want to focus on is that right now, projects do want to be able to enforce royalties. And currently, in the current environment, the current ecosystem, you can enforce royalties if you block a few exchanges that don't, if you have a contract that is adjustable. So if you change your contract to something new, the old ones are not adjustable. If you get a new one, you can then block a few exchanges, and Blur and OpenSea will both enforce royalties. We're seeing it right now with Nakamigos. We're seeing it with Captains. We're seeing it with Heavy Metal, another Yuga project. So we know that at least right now, it's working quite well. In fact, here's a chart. This chart looks at the top projects for April of 2023. Who has earned the most royalties? The top 3 are Nakamigos, Heavy Metal, and Captains. Number 5 is Den Decadent. These are not other than Nakamigos, the other ones are not the ones doing the most volume, but they're the ones that are making the most royalties because their average royalty paid is something like 7 times higher than the ones that are not having royalties enforced. So it's not too surprising, and it'll be really interesting to see if we see this more, that Yuga's trying to migrate that other deed contract over to a new contract. I thought that was kind of interesting, curious to see how that plays out for other projects. Another piece of news from Yuga is that Gucci announced that they're launching a Koda pendant, Koda jewelry. Let's dive a little bit into this. In order to get one, you must first claim your vessel and your Koda, or your Koda. You don't need a Koda, you just need a vessel or a Koda, but goes back to that theme. You don't have to burn your other deed, but if you ever want to do anything interesting with your NFTs going forward, you're going to have to burn it, okay? If you get this Gucci necklace, you're not just going to get the necklace, but your Koda or your vessel is going to get an update in the visual. You're going to see that necklace on the NFT. So that's kind of cool. There are 3,333 of them, of these necklaces. The price for them is 450 APE, which is pretty much exactly 1 ETH right now. So $1,800, will be interesting to see. They said the visual update will be more incremental to vessels than to Kodas, and maybe perhaps progress the vessel. Again, I'm not going to go too deep in that lore because it confuses me too. But interesting to see. I always love to see real life brands, especially one with Gucci. I mean, that's a serious brand coming into our space, doing something with some of the big players. Can't complain about that. Last thing to talk about is a few notable sales. The first is a V1 Ape Punk sold for 100 ETH. For those who don't know, the basic story about V1 Punks is that when John and Matt, when Larva Labs originally created CryptoPunks, there was a bug in the contract. So they basically said, okay, what we're going to do to fix this is we're going to send you a new punk. Okay, and those new punks are the CryptoPunks that we all know and love today. But some people about a year ago said, wait, if we wrap that original contract that was buggy, we can actually make it a bit more of a viable NFT today. So that is what they did. And then those V1 punks that were in all those original claimers wallets are now called V1 punks. They're just wrapped, and it's kind of like these are the NFTs that were that punk that had some bugs before what is now considered CryptoPunks was actually minted. They tend to trade maybe at a 90% discount to the normal CryptoPunks. Here you had an ape trading for about 100 ETH. In terms of other top sales, we've had a bunch of sales in the 200s. There are only 24 apes in the normal CryptoPunk set, so probably fewer because not all these have been claimed. But we've had a bunch of sales above 200 ETH. A zombie hoodie traded for 300 ETH. There was actually an alien that one sold for 1,000 ETH. It wasn't on chain in like the normal way, so it didn't pop up here. But interesting to see that. Again, this 100 ETH sale, well below where they've been before, but in today's market where grails and NFTs are weak, can't complain about that. Second sale to talk about, a piece called Deception by Marlin sold for 5 ETH. This piece was a commissioned work, an all-time high for Marlin, but it was commissioned specifically for the buyer. Very cool. You can see the Bored Ape, the Wreck Guy, a bunch of other symbols of kind of modern day NFTs. A little bit about, or here's a tweet that we have from the artist Marlin thanking the buyer, saying this was commissioned directly for this buyer, saying it was an all-time high. Always love to see that. A little bit about the artist. The artist was born in Sri Lanka, currently lives in Melbourne, Australia. His style is an extremely rare fusion between neo-expressionism and realism from his website. I don't know what that means, but I think you can tell that he's got his really unique look and feel, aims to arouse with his work, another word from him. Here are a few of his top sales from before. You can see a bunch of sales in that 3 to 4 ETH range. You can see this real unified look and feel, so pretty cool stuff. Congrats to him as well as to the buyer. And then the last sale to talk about, this piece called The Last Stand of the High King by Sadboi, sold for 4 ETH. We're seeing a bit lower sales here in terms of price, just not as many sales in the double digits. I love it. It's a great opportunity to talk about other artists who I normally don't talk about. A little bit about Sadboi. His name is Joel Hedstrom. He is a professional illustrator and artist based in Minneapolis, Minnesota. He makes digitally hand-drawn art that explores the themes of duality, good versus evil, life versus death, mythos, and iconography. And I think you can really see that in a lot of this work. Here are 3 of his top sales, again, in that 3 to 4 ETH range. Pretty cool stuff here. He's had another sale in that range as well that is kind of a long horizontal piece, but a bunch of cool sales in that 3 to 4 ETH range. I went to his website. He's got a lot of prints there. I kind of like the look and feel of what he does. So cool stuff there. Congrats to him. Congrats to the buyer as well. That is all from me today. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, like it below. Leave us a comment. Tell us what you think. Subscribe to the channel. Every day I'm trying to figure out what's the most important stuff in NFTs, but sometimes I miss stuff. I'd love to hear what you think. What am I missing? What else should I talk about? All that stuff is super helpful. Hope you have a great day. We'll be back tomorrow and every weekday with another show. Talk to you soon.